What happened to Amelia Earhart? Earhart was a true pioneer. By 25, she had flown higher than any woman ever. More records followed. First woman to fly solo across the Atlantic.
It was very interesting to me to fly in southern waters rather than in the north.
Amelia Earhart soared into the history books as one of the most iconic female aviation pioneers. But her final flight in 1937 left behind a mystery that has fascinated the world for nearly 90 years. Where did she go? What really happened? With these questions in mind, researchers and enthusiasts have spent decades searching for answers. Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean during their ambitious world flight. On July 2nd, 1937, after a desperate radio transmission, they went silent. Despite one of the largest search operations ever conducted, they were never found. This marked the beginning of one of the 20th century's most intriguing mysteries, sparking countless theories, expeditions, and speculation. Now, in 2025, the puzzle finally seems to be complete. But the revelation is far from the heroic ending many had hoped for. Amelia Earhart was far more than just a pilot. She was an icon of her time, a trailblazer in aviation, a women's rights activist, and living proof that dreams can be bigger than the limitations society tries to impose. Born in 1897 in Kansas, Earhart grew up in an era when women were rarely encouraged to think beyond traditional roles. But she chose a different path, a path full of challenges, one that would lead her to the pinnacle of aviation history. Her first major breakthrough came in 1932. Earhart became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. It was an unprecedented moment in history, and it made her an international star. But she didn't stop there. She broke even more records. The first solo long-distance flight from Hawaii to California, a record-setting journey from Los Angeles to Mexico City. And her ultimate dream? A flight around the world, following the equator. It was more ambitious than anything she had ever attempted. Yet Amelia was more than just a pilot. She wrote books, designed her own clothing line, and advocated passionately for gender equality. She used her voice and her platform to inspire others and to prove that women were capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. Her courage and determination made her a hero to men and women worldwide, a symbol of freedom, a pioneer who continually pushed the boundaries of what was possible, until she may have pushed her own limits too far. When Amelia Earhart began her world flight in 1937, the world watched with admiration and anticipation. But no one could have predicted that this would become her final journey. Her mission was nothing short of revolutionary. Flying a twin-engine Lockheed Electra 10E, specially equipped with extra fuel tanks for long distances, Earhart was determined to make history. The journey began in June 1937. She was accompanied by navigator Fred Noonan. Together, they completed almost 2/3 of the route, covering 29,000 miles along the equator. Everything seemed to be going as planned, until July 2nd, 1937. On that day, Amelia and Fred departed from Lae, New Guinea, their destination, the tiny Howland Island in the Pacific Ocean. But there was a critical issue. Howland was a speck of land, nearly invisible from the air. To complicate matters further, Amelia and Fred did not have the most advanced navigation tools. With communication issues and adverse weather, the mission became increasingly dire. At 8:43 a.m., their final radio transmission was received. The words were chillingly simple. "We are on the line 157/337. We are running north and south." After that, silence. What followed was the largest search operation ever conducted up to that point. Ships, planes, and search parties scoured the ocean. For 16 days, no trace was found. No wreckage, no oil slicks, no sign of Amelia or Fred. The search was eventually called off. And so began a mystery that would grip the world for decades to come. After Amelia's disappearance in 1937, the world was left with more questions than answers. What exactly had happened? The mystery sparked an avalanche of theories. Some credible, others downright speculative. The most common theory, and perhaps the simplest, is that Amelia's plane ran out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific Ocean. According to this crash and sink theory, the Lockheed Electra would have plunged deep into the ocean floor. Despite numerous search efforts, including deep-sea expeditions in 2009 and 2012, no definitive evidence of the wreckage has ever been found. Another popular theory is the Nikumaroro theory. This suggests that Earhart and Fred Noonan veered off course and ended up stranded on an uninhabited island called Nikumaroro, hundreds of miles from their intended destination. Researchers later uncovered some intriguing evidence on the island: aluminum aircraft parts, a shoe from the 1930s, and even a jar of freckle cream, a product Amelia was known to use. But despite these discoveries, conclusive proof remains elusive. In addition to these main theories, there are more controversial speculations. Some propose that Amelia was captured by the Japanese, having accidentally flown over enemy territory, and that she and Fred were possibly executed. Other, even more far-fetched theories suggest that she faked her own death and started a new life in America under a different identity. For decades, these theories persisted, but none of them brought us closer to the truth. It seemed as though the mystery of Amelia Earhart would never be solved. That was, until 2024, when a technological breakthrough finally added a new and crucial chapter to her story. For nearly 90 years, Amelia Earhart's disappearance remained one of the greatest mysteries of all time. But in 2024, a team of scientists and engineers finally uncovered the evidence the world had been waiting for. The team, Deep Sea Vision, led by researcher Tony Romeo, used advanced technology to search a vast area of the ocean floor near Howland Island. In January 2024, they made a groundbreaking discovery. At a depth of 5,000 meters, the underwater drone, the Hugin 6000, captured sonar images of an aircraft wreckage. It strongly resembled Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra. Romeo's team based their search on a revised theory known as the International Dateline Theory. This theory, proposed by navigator Liz Smith, suggested that Amelia and Fred accidentally made a navigation error when crossing the international dateline. This mistake would have placed them approximately 100 miles west of their intended course, and it was precisely there that the wreckage was found. The images revealed unique features that matched the Lockheed Electra: the twin-tail structure, the intact engine mounts, and even the measurements of the metal. To eliminate any doubt, scientists analyzed the metal from the wreckage. The results? The composition of the metal was a precise match for aircraft manufacturing in the 1930s, specifically the materials used in Earhart's plane. This was a breakthrough that finally solved a significant piece of the mystery. But what makes the story even more intriguing is that the discovery of the wreckage did not answer all the questions. Instead, it raised new ones. Was this the location where Amelia and Fred lost their lives? Or is it just part of their journey? And how does this align with the findings on Nikumaroro, an island hundreds of miles away? For researchers, it seems the search for answers is not yet over. Despite the monumental discovery of the wreckage believed to be Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra, critical questions about her disappearance remain unanswered. While the find sheds light on the final moments of the ill-fated flight, it has also deepened the mystery surrounding her story. One of the most pressing questions is, what led to the crash? Was it a mechanical failure, an unexpected change in weather, or simply the result of missed navigation due to the era's limited technology? Amelia and Fred had been attempting to locate Howland Island, a notoriously small and difficult target amid the vast Pacific Ocean. The discovery of the crash site, a significant distance away, suggests they may have lost their bearings long before running out of fuel. Another mystery is how this connects to the artifacts previously found on Nikumaroro Island. Could there have been survivors who managed to reach the island after the crash? Or were those items simply coincidental, unrelated to Amelia or Fred? The connection between the wreckage near Howland Island and the clues on Nikumaroro remains a puzzle that scientists and historians are eager to solve. The findings also raise the question of whether radio distress signals attributed to Earhart in the days following the disappearance were genuine. Some believe the weak, fragmented transmissions came from the plane after it landed or ditched on water. However, the depth of the wreck and its relative inaccessibility make it unclear if such transmissions could have been made. Finally, there's the emotional question that lingers with researchers and the general public alike. What were Amelia and Fred's last moments like? Did they know they wouldn't reach safety? Did they attempt an emergency landing, holding on to hope until the very end? While science has answered many logistical aspects of the mystery, these deeply human questions continue to resonate, ensuring that Earhart's story remains as compelling as ever. As we approach the 100th anniversary of her disappearance, Amelia Earhart's legacy becomes all the more powerful. She was not defined by her final flight, but by the extraordinary life she lived and the barriers she broke. The search for the truth may not be over, but the one thing we know for certain: Amelia Earhart's story will continue to inspire for generations to come,